Good afternoon and welcome to the 6th episode of the Horizon Leeds YouTube channel. I'm Megan, Venue Manager here at Horizon, and today I want to talk to you about why do you hold events? Very simply, more around your aims and objectives. So what are your aims and objectives of the event you either hold or put on for your clients? So we have people that either contact us or pop in to see us and look at the space, and the first question I always get the team to ask is, what are your aims and objectives of the event? And some of them look at us and think, why are you as a venue asking us that? Why is that important to a venue? You provide us with a space. It doesn't matter what we're doing in that space. But actually, here at Horizon, we like to do things a little bit different, because we think if we know your aims and objectives of your event, we can help you put on a better event. We've got loads of events experience in all different areas of the industry, not just in venues. And we would like to see ourselves as an extension of your events team. So how can we support you get the most from your event? And therefore get the most from your delegates, which is what I talk about every week, because the delegates are the most important thing. So today we're going to go back to school and we're going to look at SMART. Now I know you're probably all rolling your eyes and going, oh, but it's really, really good to think of when you're setting aims and objectives. So when you're first looking at why you want to put on an event, the first thing has to be, why have you chosen an event rather than a different platform, whether that be a webinar or it could even be a policy paper? Why have you chosen that the event is the right communication tool for you? And the next thing is, what are you trying to achieve? So, is it a product launch? Are you wanting to put on training sessions? Is it an internal event, so a staff away day, an AGM? Are you wanting to learn about what your users, so it could be your service users, think about your product? And why is an event the right way to go about doing that? So that's the first thing you need to think about. And then the next thing, which I would love you to do, is to think about, get a piece of paper and write down your dream agenda. Always focus on your delegate. So we've got delegates that come in here every day that are directors of businesses. They are used to sitting down in a boardroom and they're comfortable with that style. Then we also have delegates that come in that maybe service users, and actually events isn't part of their everyday life, and therefore the service that you provide for them and also the content and the way that you deliver it might be slightly different. You've got to make everybody feel comfortable. So when you're thinking about what your perfect agenda would look like for the day, always keep thinking back to, one, what is your message and what are you trying to do? I'm trying to make sure that when everybody leaves, they understand social media, because that's the training session. Or I want them to understand the strategy, the company strategy for the next year, because it's a staff away day. Always make sure that you've got the delegate in the front of your mind. So now we've looked at that, I want you to think about SMART. So the first one is specific. So a little bit like what I've said is, how do you make sure that what your event, the content of your event is specific, and you're looking at your delegate experience and what they're going to get from that. So that's the first one. The second thing is measurable. So you've decided you want to put on training courses for certain delegates. It could be, I don't know, new marketing assistants come out of university and you want to put on a social media course for them. How are you going to measure that that has been successful? So that could be a basic feedback form, it could be things like Slido, which I've discussed in previous videos, or it could be a qualification. But it's really important, there's a purpose to this event, there's a reason why you're doing it, so that's how you measure it. Make sure you are getting the best return on investment. So that's the second one, so specific and measurable. The third one is achievable. Now, first thing I think about is money. So we can all have these wild ideas, us event lot, we do. We go a little bit crazy, but actually what it comes down to is, have you got the budget for that? And that could be when you start to talk to the venue and actually get an idea of how much this could be. You may want to put on some team building, so how much would that be? And we can help you with all that. We've got lots of suppliers that we work with. But the next thing has to be, can you afford it? And is it achievable with the resource you've got? So that could be the speakers that you've got. Bearing in mind the speakers don't have to be on site, they could be in America, and we could sort of do it via a Skype link or something similar. But have you got the right people to in the organisation to deliver that content? So that is the next thing you need to think about. So specific, measurable, achievable. The next one is relevant. Now we all love unicorns and glitter. There's a lot of event trends out there that work for certain events but not for others. So you've got to think about these fantastic things you want to do, and it could be as simple as, I want to do some fun activities in the afternoon, but why do you want to do these fun activities, and how can you relate that back to the content that you have presented to your delegates in the morning? It all has to be relevant. And again, back to trends. So this is when I really like to get involved, is how we can get the most out of your event. So maybe looking at technology, how can we get different technology that you may have not thought about in the past involved, but that's relevant. Don't just do a video for the sake of it. It could be that a video is not the right thing for this event. It could be that a vox pop or a podcast, or there's lots of different things, but it's making sure that everything that you decide to put into that event and you spend money on, you can justify why you've done it, and it's measurable and you can see your return. And the last thing, so we've got specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and the last one is time bound, and this is probably the most important. Again, we have these wild ideas, we want to do this, we want to send people out, we want to do a treasure hunt, we want them to have an hour and a half of networking at lunch, but have you actually got time for that, especially if you've got exhibition stands involved? Making sure, so we do quite a lot of tabletops here, making sure actually the people that have paid for those tabletops get the time with the delegates. So how do you do that to ensure that everybody is happy and you get the best from your event? So that could be that you could run 2 networking sessions. So some people could be networking, having lunch, while another workshop could be going on. It could be that you have workshops in the morning and something fun in the afternoon. There's lots of different things you can do, but just ensure that you're taking into consideration time, because the last thing you want is delegates running out of time and delegates getting cross that they miss the train. So go back again. Specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound. That is smart, and that is the main thing I wanted you to look at today. And I'm just going to show you an example of something a little bit different, where when we know your aims and objectives, we can really help you get the most out of your event. And you might have not thought about this before, and this is why it's really important to us, because at the end of the day, if you've got happy delegates, the chances are they'll return, and hopefully you'll return to us, and you make us very happy. So today I'm going to show you something very, very quick. So one thing that we do is virtual reality. We're really keen on this at the moment. I can't believe that more venues aren't doing it. It's such a great tool for so many different things, but especially product. So imagine you're a printers and you have just started creating this new printing option. So you want to show off this product. Now, you might need to go into quite a lot of detail about it, and the way that you normally would do that is probably through a presentation, which can be a bit boring. So instead, we have iPads here, which you can hold the iPad up to the product, and it can tell you all about the colour, the type of print you've used, the stock, the finish. It's something a bit different. We do it with things like shoes, printers, so it can be something that can get the delegate a little bit more engaged than just talking at them. So give us a shout if you want to find out more about that, because it's really simple technology. So that's one thing that we can do. Another thing, if you've got a really dry piece of content, so maybe a police paper or something like that, sticking it on one of our huge iPads. As the delegates are playing around, manipulating the text, they're actually taking the information in. So it's just a different way of getting that information across to them, and a bit more fun. And hopefully, at the end of it, they will have learned a lot more from the event. So there you go, that's today, just a quick nutshell about what I want to talk to you about getting the most out of your event by thinking about your aims and objectives. Please let me know if you've got any ideas of things that you've done in the past, which are a little bit different, which you think I'd be interested in, or if you want to find out about any of our technology, because that's what we're here for. At the end of the day, we all want to see a return on investment, and a happy delegate means happy client. So I look forward to speaking to you very soon. I'm doing all sorts this week. I'm away on some sales missions and things this week, but I'll be back next week to chat to you about our next subject, which might be about speakers. I'm just trying to decide what to do. So I'll speak to you soon. Thanks, bye.